On the cutting edge of anomaly research, you are about to experience The Evidence with your host, 3D pioneer and image analyst with Mars X3D, E.W. Gannett.
Well, hello there, and welcome to episode 132 of The Evidence. This is your buddy Dave over at Mars X3D. And you know, if you're new to the channel, that X3D maybe sounds a little bit mysterious. All that means is a different way of using your normal 3D vision. Super easy to learn. There's a link below. Most people can learn in about 2 minutes. Check it out, because otherwise this channel won't make much sense to you. You know, just recently I've begun putting classifications on the finds that I present. And they are what we call OOGIs, which stands for Objects of Geological Interest. And then Artifact Candidates, which are close to being artifacts or non-fractal elements being present, but not quite enough to nail it as an artifact. And then there is Artifact. And that is an item that fully has all the non-fractal angles required to identify it as having been made with intelligent agency. We have a lot to look at today. So let's go ahead and jump into it. But first, you gotta learn that X3D if you already know it, because you know what? It won't make any sense to you if you don't. So here we go. Let's dive right into an OOGI parade. Most of you remember that OOGI stands for Object of Geological Interest. In other words, it's weird, but not necessarily proof of intelligent agency. Nev's GMAC of Percy 411 is loaded with fascinating little nuggets, and if you click the link below, you'll find them all marked for your convenience. And by the way, not all of them are OOGIs. I'll do my best to keep my mouth shut while you have a look. Or I'll try anyway. Let's roll. Okay, I can't stand it anymore. That round object at the top has what some might consider to be skull-like features. This really reminds me of a similar item found by my buddy Lanyi Gabor. Take a look. I hope you're not ignoring that beautifully even block down front. That is definitely an artifact. While we're on the subject of blocks, here's another one from Nev's GMAC of 3532. This isn't what I normally do for a context view, but I just like this big old wrinkled boulder. Just a reminder that you can always click the links below in the description and go right to the original images. Isn't that nice? Even thickness, right angles in 3 dimensions, and what might possibly be either carvings or rebar along the side facing us. Here are a couple I dug out of Nev's GMAC of 3458. Our first one is up there on the slope. Is that worn carving we're looking at on this boulder? Here's the deal. That rock looks like it's been subjected to either running water over a long period of time, or it has been purposely smoothed to do the bas-relief carving of what might be letters on the upper right. Could those just be harder portions of stone that eroded differently than the rest of the boulder? Yeah, even though my personal confirmation bias is reluctant to admit it. That's why this one only gets rated as an artifact candidate. And look at this standalone OOGI. How cool is that? And how exactly did it form? I love Mars. It's almost as weird as I am. We keep finding these things that look like computer screens. Is this another one? Let's get in closer. Well, it sure seems like those are rigidly precise right angles and a very uniform darkness to the entire thing. Here's the problem, though. The sunlight is coming from the left, so it is possible this is just a rather remarkable shadow cast by the upper shape of the rock. That's why this one will remain as an artifact candidate. Here's another one shared the other day by researcher Maria Conceição Coelho. And yes, I know that other researchers have pointed this one out, but let's be gentlemen, and give a tip of the hat to Maria. And as usual, NASA puts this one right on the border of the image, but we'll make it work. Some people have called this a jar, and some have even called it a skull. It seems to me that these images from Mars are like silly putty in people's minds. They shape stuff into whatever makes them feel comfortable, I guess. This could easily be just a rock, but look at this. There seems to be a perfectly square opening right here on the left side. It's not really likely that that's entirely natural, at least in my mind, so this one will remain an artifact candidate. Martine Graney always does a great job presenting her finds. She brings her chops as a graphic artist to bear in everything she does. I know better than to use her material, though, so this is all my own processing. What a great find. If you happen to be a proud weirdo, you're already seeing the right angles in 3 dimensions on the cube in front. And then there's that, what Martine calls a looped strap, coming up over the back. If you're new to the channel, the proud weirdos are those who can do X3D and this is the important part, they watch the episodes and leave a thumbs up. We do live hangs once I depart from the Sunrise Command, which you'll want to check out this fall. And dare I mention it, if you click the join button below this video, you can find out how simple and inexpensive it is to support this work by advancing to the elite classification of Proud Weirdo, First Class. In any case, Martine has presented us with a solid artifact. My friend Maria Conceição Coelho shared the classic statue head from NASA's Dingo Gap image, which we'll get to in just a moment. First of all, I know that these wide-angle images are tough for some viewers, especially if you're new. The trick is to just focus on those white fusion dots at the top and bring them together like you learned in the tutorial. Then everything will drop into place. Dingo Gap is crawling with anomalies, every one of which has been presented at one time or another by other researchers. Most notable among them is my friend Jimmy Roberts over at the OUT TheRealJimmyRoberts1 channel. He did a bang-up job on Dingo Gap last year, and I urge you to head over to his channel and find that particular episode. If I can find the link, I'll put it down below. Anyway, let's start right out with what I call the Zulu. This looks so much like a Zulu tribal mask that it's a little bit scary. The fact that it has all these nice blocks around it. Note the one in the background that looks like a cornice. Well, like I've said before, context is key when dealing with anomalies. You might even notice what looks like carving on the headdress. From the look of it, I'd say that the headdress was above ground for a long period of time and suffered a good bit of weathering, and only fairly recently has the face portion emerged from the sand. Now, let's rotate the orientation just for fun. Quite the classic find, right? Let's look at a few more. This one reminds me of a wall section, rather similar to what we might find in Cusco and other megalithic sites around the world. Is this a wall section or just some natural weathering? We'll leave this one as an artifact candidate for now. As Jimmy Roberts pointed out, you're looking at foundations, folks. For someone with an archaeologist's eye, there even seem to be room partitions present. And did you notice what looks like a door opening right here? I know there's a bunch of blurry junk here in the blow-up. So is this maybe just a crack in the foundation? And what about this strange blue thing at the bottom? Again, way too blurry to make a definitive call, but it definitely seems out of place. Anyway, since there is a possibility that this could form naturally, we'll assign the status of artifact candidate. And what the heck is this thing? We've got right angles and bilateral symmetry, so it's pretty suspicious. Another artifact candidate. Is this another screen or just a shadow? We'll play it safe and call this one an OOGI. Let's wrap up our review of Dingo Gap with this one. As far as I know, no one has presented this particular anomaly. Some of you are thinking, oh good grief, that's just a rock. And I don't blame you. But what about those right angles in 3 dimensions? Did you consider these 3 strange aspects? On the left, a circular opening divided into 4 equal parts, kind of like a small speaker or maybe a small ventilation fan. To the right, what looks like a walkie-talkie antenna sticking out. You know, one of those stub antennas. How did this not break off if this was formed naturally? And down below, a circular depression with an even lip all the way around it. There's enough here in this one small blurry item to positively declare it to be an artifact. You know, one day we'll be there if we're not there already. There'll be a rush to harvest ancient Martian technology, and archaeologists will be crawling all over the countless ruins, retrieving artifacts and artwork, utensils, skeletal and fossil remains, pottery, and so much more. All of which will go into an absolutely amazing museum dedicated to preserving and presenting ancient Mars for tourists, scientists, and residents. What a day that will be. Until then, however, the next best thing is to view these amazing finds in 3D. Thanks for joining us right here at the cutting edge of anomaly research.